chosen because there was great excitement about what a CBO model might offer in areas that are deep rural areas with all kinds of challenges of how to provide water. Well, one of the other reasons why people were really excited was that CBOs are seen as being closer to the ground and accountable to the people. So if you had CBOs provide in Chris Hani, it was imagined that would overcome all sorts of problems with provision.
Okay, welcome to Sojan. This first area consists of Sojan. Sojan was one of the areas we did the community participatory meetings. In Sojan, our most findings was that they don't have a water problem as such. They are supplied with a dam and also a borehole. On sanitation, there's a problem with the structures. Some of them, they are dilapidated. And part of the population on water, they are saved with they don't have the taps within 200 meters as at RDP standard. They use the manual method of getting water. I'm also happy to introduce to you the CSP members, and this is part of the CSP members. You are free to ask any questions.
The district municipality is one of the 6 district municipalities of the Eastern Cape, and the shaded area is where Amatola Water is operating. So we are responsible for the operation and maintenance of the rural schemes in Amalahleni, Sakisizwe, Ngobo, and Sikayito.
The way we're dealing with service delivery is that after the Section 78 assessment, the council opted that the 4 municipalities which have got the biggest backlog, which are former homeland municipalities, we as Christian District Municipality, we have to make sure that we provide such a service ourselves. And the other 4 then were appointed as the water service providers. And it's then in those 4 eastern municipalities, which are former homeland municipalities, where we've got a lot of CBOs which are helping us as district municipality to make sure that we deal with operations and maintenance issues.
I'm Nosaikele, so of course I am a member of CSP. I am one operator.
She checked the water is very clean. It's supposed to serve the community. The community must have a clean water, a purified water, you know. And when the pipe there's a leakage, she repairs the pipes. She do that job, this lady.
With Chris Hani district municipality, the arrangement was kind of unique. Our arrangement with them is in twofold. One, we assist them with the operation and maintenance of their water service infrastructure. At the same time, we assist them with the ISD support. ISD is an institutional social development which really seeks to empower the local communities, especially the water service provision. That means they should be able to, they should be capacitated to be developed, to be empowered, to be transformed, to be able to provide water services by themselves. Okay. So we've got CBOs in a number of those villages. We've got about more than 700 people from those communities that form part of the community-based organization. So the main task that we have is to transform those into SMMEs, to small and micro enterprises, and their main function would be the water service provision.
On terms of addressing backlog, we've got a mammoth task as a district municipality. Remember, we've got areas which had been neglected in the past, from the former, apartheid days, and currently we're looking at 2.4 billion only on water to address water backlogs, and we've got around 600 million on terms of sanitation alone. But major challenges are the dilapidated infrastructure. Remember, the infrastructure, some of it is over, it's around 60 years old. And now we have to measure whether, do we want to first chase the backlog and leave the, the dilapidated infrastructure, which is quite a very, very difficult decision to make.
Basic advantages, disadvantages in terms of what's been coming out. Where the advantages, and we're talking about the current model, not a ideal model, that it's community-based, quick turnaround times, they are accountable to the community, there is some networking, and they are assisting with health and hygiene and HIV and AIDS awareness. The disadvantages is that it's not a pure model, there's no real empowerment, there doesn't appear to be real institution building. The layers are resulting in confusion in reporting. There are clear tensions between CBOs and transport graph staff on the ground. And although they're seen by the community as an arm of the district municipality, they're not accountable to the district municipality. And there's fairly high turnover in these CBOs. And people get trained, they suddenly have marketable skills, and they move on. And I mean, that's something that we've grappled with for many years.
Is that a bad thing?
Not necessarily. But what they raised was that the difficulty is to keep retraining and retraining. But otherwise, I don't think it's a bad thing.
The issues about the staff turnovers in terms of municipalities, as a district municipality, because we are a rural municipality, we have had quite a lot of challenges on terms of not retaining personnel. And remember, a professional to go and work in a rural village, it's kind of a very, very difficult, where the incentive is not there. I think probably Salga needs to relook at the whole issue of salaries on terms of the grading of municipalities. There is I think a program with the Department of Health where health from their side, there is something which is called a rural allowance when it comes to their nurses. And I think personally, it's something like those that needed obviously then to be looked at.
Yeah, I think what came out of her paper was the need to carve out various functions of service provision, and that CBOs can be very effective in carrying out some of those functions. And so I think if one looks at the dramatic O&M crisis in the country, which is particularly problematic in rural areas, this seems to me to be a solution. and it's a solution because there's a political will within Chris Hani that wants to drive it.
What I'm hearing is that we're trying to formalize that through providing services and using these structures that were there, but instead of them being community owned, they're now being paid through this very complex system of public this and that. Plus, and we know from our experience of trying to work with the city, the tender process for a community organisation or an NGO is completely untenable and makes absolutely no sense, because you're not a competitive body, you're trying to do something completely different to providing what would traditionally be called a service. And this, I think, maybe needs a bit more unpacking. So the shift towards SMMEs, I agree with Mary, is not just about terminology, it's about redefining this role and actually calling them what in fact they now are being. So it seems to me not a happy story.
They call it locally based small scale providers. And this is exactly what it is. And if we get that definition clear, then it sort of clears the thing that it's not a CBO or an NGO kind of arrangement. It's a small scale provider network.
And I think it's critical to make that distinction, because the whole broader socio-cultural political context has shifted decisively from the 1980s, when we had a very different notion of community. In that context, the fact that we still have things called CBOs is remarkable.